The Secret of the Golden Coins. There once lived a man named Daniel, just outside the bustling city of Meridian. He was not rich. In fact, he was broke. He lived in a small wooden room at the edge of the market road, where dust covered the windows and the sound of carts rattled all night. Daniel worked as a clerk, copying contracts for merchants. Day after day, he dipped his pen into ink, scratched lines across parchment, and handed over the finished documents for a few coins. By sunset, the coins were gone, spent on food, rent, and tiny comforts to dull his frustration. He often stared at the merchants with their shining rings and long caravans and wondered, why them? Why not me? One evening, Daniel came home with nothing but a single gold coin. He placed it on the table and watched it gleam under the dim lamp. "This is it," he whispered. "All I have to show for months of work." He felt anger at himself. He felt fear. He had no family to rely on, no savings, and no plan. Only that coin. That night, lying awake, he remembered something he had overheard from an older trader at the docks. "If you want to be free, pay yourself first." The phrase echoed in his mind like a challenge. The next morning, Daniel made a decision. No matter how small his income, he would save a portion of it, not at the end of the week, at the very start. So when he was paid again, he took one coin from every 10 and hid it in a clay jar beneath the floorboards. At first it was hard. It meant skipping the tavern, cooking his own meals, mending his old clothes. But week by week, the coins accumulated. At first he saved 5 coins, then 10, then 20. Something began to change inside him. For the first time, he felt in control. His future no longer belonged entirely to his employers or to luck. Daniel started studying how the wealthy handled their money. He noticed they did not spend on every impulse. They planned. They waited. They chose carefully. He mirrored their habits. He wrote down every expense. He compared prices. He stopped borrowing. He learned to live on 90% of his income, sometimes even less, without feeling deprived. Soon, saving became a reflex, like breathing. After 2 years, Daniel's clay jar had grown heavy. He counted 100 gold coins. He had never seen so much money at once, but he knew hiding coins forever would not make him rich. He began to study opportunities. He talked to merchants at the docks. He asked questions about their trades, their profits, their risks. He stayed late at warehouses, watching shipments come and go. He learned a simple truth: money can work harder than a man, if placed wisely. He decided to lend part of his savings to a shipbuilder he knew well, a man he trusted, whose business he understood. In return, he would earn a share of the profits from new boats. The first few months were nerve-wracking, but when the boat sold, Daniel received his share. His savings had grown without him lifting a pen. Flush with success, Daniel grew bold. He invested in a gemstone dealer he barely knew. Tempted by promises of high returns, the dealer vanished, leaving Daniel with a painful loss. For weeks, Daniel felt ashamed. "I worked years for that money," he muttered, "and I gave it to a stranger." But rather than give up, he studied his mistake. He realized he should never invest in something he didn't understand or with people he didn't trust. This lesson became a shield for him in future deals. Daniel focused again on steady, understandable ventures: renting storage space, supplying grain to caravans, financing wagon repairs. Each deal brought modest profits, but they were reliable. He diversified. Some profits he reinvested, some he kept in reserve. He avoided new debts. He built a small emergency fund. By his mid-40s, Daniel owned several warehouses on the edge of Meridian. He no longer copied contracts. He signed them as a partner. As Daniel's fortune grew, so did the temptation to spend lavishly. But he remembered the nights when he had only one coin. He bought a modest stone house, not a palace. He insured his goods. He hired a careful accountant. He taught himself to read contracts deeply. He protected his wealth as carefully as he had built it, knowing that fortune can be lost as easily as it is gained. One rainy evening, Daniel sat by the window of his stone house, listening to the water run down the streets of Meridian. In front of him, lay the same clay jar he had once hidden beneath the floorboards. Inside were not coins now, but notes on his principles. He thought about the life he had built: warehouses, partnerships, savings, all from that single coin, and the decision to pay himself first. He wrote down the rules he had lived by. Pay yourself first. Save at least 10% before anything else. Live below your means. Control your expenses. Make money work. Invest in what you understand. Protect your wealth. Diversify. Insure. And stay cautious. Keep learning. Knowledge is the best investment. He realized these rules were not secrets at all. Anyone could follow them, but few had the discipline to do so. Daniel looked out at the city lights flickering like stars. He remembered the boy who had walked the streets with a single coin, desperate and ashamed. He smiled. Wealth, he understood now, was not just gold. It was the freedom to choose his life, the peace of knowing tomorrow would be safe, and the confidence to help others. And it had all started with one simple habit: paying himself first.